In the middle of Southeast Asia, on a tiny island barely visible on most maps, stands one of the most important pieces of infrastructure in the modern world. It's not a military base, it's not a government palace, it's not even a skyscraper, it's a port. But this isn't just any port. This is Singapore, the gateway through which a staggering portion of the world's goods must pass. It handles more shipping tonnage than almost anywhere else on the planet. It moves goods worth hundreds of billions every year, and behind its cranes, warehouses, and endless stacks of containers lies a story of power, strategy, and wealth, the kind that shapes nations. Act 1. The strategic location. To understand Singapore's rise, you have to start with its location. Singapore sits at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, right where the Strait of Malacca meets the South China Sea. This narrow stretch of water is one of the most important maritime choke points in the world. If you're sending oil from the Middle East to China, electronics from South Korea to Europe, or grain from Australia to the Middle East, there's a good chance your ship will pass through here. Every year, around 90,000 vessels transit the Strait of Malacca, carrying about 1/4 of all the world's traded goods, and sitting at the crossroads is Singapore. Act 2. A colonial outpost to global power. Singapore's importance isn't new. In 1819, the British East India Company established a trading post here, recognizing its value as a refueling and supply stop for ships. The island became a free port, no customs duties, no tariffs, attracting traders from across Asia. By the time of World War II, Singapore was a jewel of the British Empire, defended by massive naval bases. But after the war, and after independence in 1965, Singapore's leaders saw an opportunity to turn their tiny, resource-poor nation into something far greater, a global hub for trade, finance, and logistics. Act 3. The port's rise. The Port of Singapore Authority modernized and expanded aggressively. By the 1970s, containerization, the shipping revolution that used standardized metal boxes, was transforming global trade. Singapore embraced it faster than almost anyone else, building huge container terminals at Tanjong Pagar, Keppel, and later Pasir Panjang. Today, the port operates 24/7, handling over 37 million TEOs 20-foot equivalent units a year. It connects to more than 600 ports in 120 countries, and it's run with near-military precision. Ships are unloaded, containers shifted, and cargo sent on its way with breathtaking speed. Act 4. More than just shipping. The port isn't just about moving goods. Singapore has built freeport facilities, secure, climate-controlled warehouses where the wealthy store priceless art, rare wine, gold, and other assets. These freeports are like bank vaults for physical treasures. They offer near-total secrecy, minimal customs interference, and often generous tax advantages. For billionaires and collectors, Singapore's freeports are the perfect place to stash assets out of the public eye. Act 5. Chokepoint. Power. Control over such a vital maritime crossroads gives Singapore a subtle but significant kind of power. While it can't and doesn't shut the Strait of Malacca, its ability to provide safe, efficient, and reliable services to global shipping gives it diplomatic weight. It also means that any instability in Singapore could ripple across the world economy. If this port were to shut down, even briefly, supply chains would grind to a halt. Oil tankers would back up for miles, and the price of goods everywhere would spike. Act 6. Competition and threats. Singapore's dominance is being challenged. Nearby ports in Malaysia, like Port Klang and Tanjung Pelopors, are expanding. China is investing in megaports under its Belt and Road Initiative. And piracy remains a concern, though Singapore and its neighbors patrol the waters aggressively. But perhaps the biggest challenge is automation and the future of shipping. As ports become more high-tech, competition will come from whoever can move goods fastest and cheapest. Act 7. A city built on trade. Trade isn't just part of Singapore's economy. It is the economy. The city-state's GDP is driven by manufacturing, finance, and logistics, all tied to its role as a hub. Its government has invested heavily in infrastructure, from high-speed internet to Changi Airport, to keep goods, people, and data flowing seamlessly. This strategy has worked. Singapore has one of the highest GDP per capita figures in the world, AAA credit rating, and a reputation for stability and efficiency. Act 8. Secrets in the containers. Not everything moving through Singapore's port is legitimate. Over the years, authorities have uncovered shipments of illegal wildlife products, counterfeit goods, and even weapons hidden among legitimate cargo. Its position as a global hub makes it a target for smugglers, and a critical point for law enforcement to intercept illicit trade. But the sheer scale of operations means most containers pass through unchecked. Act 9. The future Tuas megaport. Singapore is now building the Tuas megaport, set to be the largest fully automated port in the world when completed in the 2040s. It will consolidate all container operations into one massive site, capable of handling 65 million TEUs a year. This will not only secure Singapore's position as a global maritime leader, it will also redefine what a modern port looks like. Act 10. Why it matters in a world obsessed with tech giants. Stock markets and crypto. it's easy to forget that physical trade still underpins the global economy, and in that physical world, ports are kings. They are the arteries of global commerce. Without them, nothing moves. And Singapore's port is one of the most vital arteries of them all. The port of Singapore isn't flashy. To most people, it's just cranes, ships, and boxes. But inside those boxes is the modern world. Everything from the food on your plate, to the phone in your hand, to the fuel in your car. And behind it all is a tiny island nation that understood something long before the rest of the world did. In the age of globalization, geography is destiny. Singapore didn't just accept its location, it turned it into power. And in doing so, it became the port that controls the world's trade.